Good morning, everyone. K'tvach, Shvua Tov. I dedicate this morning's learning in memory of my mother, Mrs. Shlomis Rabinowitz, Shlomis Bas Rav Yaakov Eliezer. We are in Mishnah Bikurim, Perek Beis, Chapter 2, Mishnah Yud Aleph, Mishnah 11. Our discussion until now has been about the koi, that animal that there's a question whether it has the status of a behemoth, domesticated animal, or a chay, or of a wild animal. So this Mishnah begins, Keitzad einu shaveh lo l'chayv lo l'behemoth. In what way is a koi not similar, meaning not similar to a beast nor to an animal? And in what ways is it different than both of them? Asher mishum kalayim v'chayv v'behemoth. The prohibition of kalayim, mixture, applies to both a koi with a chaya, with a wild animal, or with a behemoth, with a domesticated animal. What that means is like this: the Torah prohibits two types of kalayim, two types of mixing of animals, either in mating different animals or in working with two different animals together. So to go ahead and use a koi, now if a koi is a behemoth, then it can't be mated or work together with a chaya. If it's a chaya, then it can't do the kalayim, the mixture, with a behemoth. Being that here we have a suffix, we have a doubt which one it is. So we have a doubt as to being involved with whether a behemoth, with another behemoth or a chaya, could possibly be a prohibition. Therefore, you have to be strict, and you cannot make them or work them together with any other animal or wild beast. Next case is the following: a person who writes chayasai, his wild animals, behemtai, and his domesticated animals, to his son. He has not written to him the koi. Here's the case. A person has a bunch of animals. Now, let's say there's two ways of reading this Mishnah. One way of reading the Mishnah is where a person writes all his chayas that he owns goes to his son. He's gifting them all to his son. Now, there's a koi amongst his animals. What is it? Is it a chaya, and therefore it goes to the son? Is it a behemoth? Does it not go to the son? And as we had previously, when we have a monetary doubt, if you want to take something away from someone, the burden of proof is on you. So being that the question is here that the son wants to take the koi away from the estate of his father, and the koi is part of that estate or belongs to his father has it. Now it's a question as to whether it was included in the gift or not, and he can take it away from the father. The burden of proof on him is to prove that a koi is a chaya, was included in the gift, which he can't do. If he can't do, then he's stuck. So therefore, the Mishnah, when it says one who writes his chayas, his wild animals, to his son, means the case is he wrote his chayas to his son. Now the question is, would the koi be included? And the answer is that since it's a suffix, it's a doubt. It's not going to be, practically speaking, it's not going to be included. Practically speaking, based on this gift, he's not going to be able to take the koi. The same thing if, let's say, instead of writing all his chayas to his son, he wrote all his behemoths to his son. And a koi has a koi. Is the koi included in behemoth or not? Well, practically speaking, it's not going to go over in the gift, because since it's a doubt whether it's included in the gift, so the son who's the recipient of the gift is the mitzi, he's trying to take something away from someone's possession, someone's hold. He's got the burden of proof on him, which he can't do, and therefore the koi will be left out of the gift. That's one way of learning the Mishnah. Another way of learning the Mishnah is that he wrote both animals, meaning he wrote all my koi. He wrote all my chayas, all my behemoths, all of them go to my son. He's got a koi. Is it included in the gift? According to this way of explaining the Mishnah, it's still not included in the gift because of the fact that when he gifts his chayas, his behemoths to someone, he means the ones that are definitely chayas or definitely behemoths. A koi, which is a doubt, is not included in the word, is not considered included in the wording of his gift. That's the first case of the Mishnah. The next case is Amar Hareini Nazir Shazachaya Oy Behema. A person says, I shall become a Nazir. A Nazir we had in this week's parsha. A person who takes upon himself the vow of Naziris, a Nazirite vow, is one who takes upon himself a vow of a Nazir, which includes prohibition of cutting one's hair, drinking wine, come into contact with any kind of impurity from a dead body. But here he's making conditional. He says, I'm a Nazir if this is a chaya or he says if this is a behemoth. So again, let's get the case. He says he sees this koy, and he says, I declare myself a nazir, I accept upon myself the vow of nazir, if this is a chayv, this is a wild animal. Or if he says, if this is a behemoth, this is a domesticated animal. So basically, we don't know what it is. So it could be it is, could be it isn't, which means it could be that his vow of Naziris took place, and could be it didn't. Well, like we've been saying until now, subject d'oraisa l'chumra. If it's a question of a Torah law, we got to be stringent. He has to observe the laws of Nazir because perhaps he is a Nazir. And the Bartanura points out that even if he says, I could declare myself a Nazir if this is both a wild animal and a domesticated animal, or he says I'm a Nazir if it's neither. There too, the vow of Naziris is going to take hold, because the kai, as we have been learning until now, has characteristics like a chaya, it's like characteristics like a behemoth, characteristics that we're discussing right now, where it's neither, where it has characteristics like neither of them, and then we're going to learn soon where it has characteristics like both. So therefore, it can work in his words when he says, I take upon myself, if this is neither or both, that also will make him a nazir, because of the fact that it's all true. There are both aspects, and there are neither aspects. So therefore, the Mishnah says, if a person declares I'm a nazir, she's a chaya or a behema, that this is a chaya, meaning the koi is a chaya or a behema, hareini nazir, he is a nazir. Practically speaking, he's going to have to keep a vow of naziris. Usha'ar called the rachav shavim l'chayla behema. In any other way, in other ways, the koi is equal to both. It shares laws like both. For instance, it needs to be slaughtered. If you want to eat it, it's kosher animal. It's not a question. And the question is, so it's going to need shchita, just like a chaya needs shchita, just like a behemoth needs shchita. If you want to eat a deer, you got to shecht it. If you want to eat a cow, you got to shecht it. And like a chaya and a behemoth, it will convey tuma if it died without shchita. That's the first case. The nevela we learned, an animal that dies without shchita is called nevela, and the carcass is impure. That applies by both a kosher animal or a kosher wild beast, or a kosher chaya. So the koi is either one, and therefore the law is going to apply there. If let's say a limb is torn off from a live animal, that limb also conveys impurity. It applies both by behema and chaya, and therefore will apply by koi, because whatever it is, it's going to apply by it. And as the commentaries point out, these are not the only two ways that a koi is going to be similar, is going to share the characteristics, to share the laws of both, but these are the two examples that the Mishnah mentioned. Okay, we now continue with the laws of Rechilas. We are in Klal Test, chapter 9. In the Chavetz Chaim, we are up to Sif Yudaled, paragraph 14. Someone did something to Ruvain that was inappropriate. He was damaged by someone. He doesn't know who it is. Who did this to him? And Ruvain, again the victim, comes and asks Shimon, do you know who did this to me? Although he senses from Ruvain's question, Reuben is suspecting him. He says, forbidden for him to reveal who did it. Although he himself saw, he knows who did it. And it's a question of, answering him who did it, which would be Rechilas. And at the same time, getting the suspicion off of you. So you can't reveal who did it. You should just answer, I did not do this. I didn't do it. He's allowed to basically say that he didn't do it, but he cannot point to the person who did it. The Chavetz Chaim, in a footnote, adds the following: that if let's say the case is that there was either a based in a rabbinical court that I make a decision about something, or there was a situation. There were times where you had leaders of a city who had, governing power over the city. And sometimes there was a group of people, and sometimes issues were brought before them, and they decided against the person. So let's say the city elders made a decision against Reuven. Shimon is one of those elders. And Reuven comes over to Shimon, and he complains about the decision that was made. And he says, were you involved in that decision? So Shimon is in a rough place right now. Because even if Shimon did not agree with his colleagues, if Shimon says it wasn't me, then he is automatically shifting the blame onto the rest of them, or potentially the rest of them. If it's a situation that by saying I didn't do it, it doesn't now pin anything on anyone else, then you can say I didn't do it. But if by saying I didn't do it, automatically it shifts the blame to others, then you can't do it. So in this case of the elders of the city, in this case, what they're doing, if Shimon, who was one of those elders, says I didn't agree with them, then he's shifting the blame to others. That would be rechilas, even though specifically he's not pointing to anybody specifically, but he is again casting the blame now, or the complaints of Reuven onto the rest of them. Therefore, in that situation, he cannot say I didn't do it. Have a wonderful day. Shvuah tov.